So on February 27, 2019, Game Freak has announced Pokemon Sword and Shield, and on June 5th, 2019, Game Freak has given us more information as to what the game will be about. This will be the 8th mainline Pokemon games to be released. Along the way, we received news that no other Pokemon fan can imagine hearing. Not every Pokemon will be in Sword and Shield, so you don't got your Zubats, no Nosepass, no Heatran, not even Glasgow of all Pokemon. We also received news that Mega Evolutions and Z-moves will not be in Sword and Shield. Game Freak has explained as to why they removed that many features, and many of those regions later turned out to be bullshit. As the game were close to its release, I had very low expectations for these games. And as I got it, as a man who has played the game, completed the post-game, and has tried out every feature this game has to offer, it's time for me to give my own thoughts as to whether or not Pokemon Sword and Shield are good games. Spoiler, they're not. Let's review the Pokemon of this generation. I love them all. I like how all the new Pokemon look, how they perform in battle, and have different ways of evolution, such as Galarian Yamask. Oh yeah, and Galarian forms exist. Not all of them are from Gen 1 though, which is cool. We finally have new evolutions from Pokemon in previous generations, such as Galarian Yamask of course, Galarian Darmanitan, Galarian Corsola, etc, etc. You also get some Galarian forms from Gen 1, but it doesn't matter because we get new forms from previous generations, so it's cool. Not to mention, we have 81 introduced in Galar. That's the second lowest amount of Pokemon introduced in a generation. So let me break this down for you. There are 400 Pokemon that you can capture in Galar, 81 of those being new. And out of those 81, we have 13 Galarian forms. So by my calculations, that's 68 original new Pokemon. That's even lower than Kalos' 72 original Pokemon. Not to mention, when you play the game and encounter Pokemon, you most likely encounter Pokemon from other generations. So they oversaturated way too many Pokemon from other generations that it's hard to appreciate and capture Pokemon that are introduced in Galar. Let's get into the story of this game now, shall we? It's awful. The worst storyline of any Pokemon game by far. When people say this isn't the worst story in the world, they're lying. The story is about how two people have stopped the Darkest Day and how Dynamax became a thing. You start to find clues as to what led to the Darkest Day, but there are 4 reasons as to why it's difficult getting invested into the story. Number 1, you have to get all badges in the league for your Pokemon challenge. Number 2, you have to encounter your rivals from time to time, which is a pain because they're so easy, which I'll get through in a moment. You encounter a toxic team that is an evil corporation, which I'll also talk about later. And it's hard to get invested when you don't care at all. Later on, towards the end of the main story, you start to realize that Chairman wants to redo the Darkest Day, and he wants help from Leon. Leon refuses or postpones his offer, and instead challenges us for the finals of the Pokemon League. The next day, when you're about to face Leon, the chairman brutally interrupts the challenge with a newsflash. He's evil. He then summons Eternatus, and it's up to you to defeat the chairman and defeat Eternatus. The chairman later reveals to himself that he's not evil and he wants to do what's best for Galar, which, in my opinion, that makes 0 sense whatsoever. I could give many reasons as to why that makes no sense, but anyways, you finally fight Leon and complete the main story, and then the post story comes out. So after your success, you go back to the forest to place your sword and shield you have obtained in the past to defeat Eternatus. Then 2 people come out of nowhere and take what you have just placed to summon Zacian and Zamazenta, and unleash their true power. That power then gets released on the Pokemon who are Dynamaxing in all the gyms, and it is up to you and a couple of other gym leaders to stop them from going haywire. Then, once you take care of those Pokemon, you then stop the Schmucks from causing any more harm in Galar, and then finally, you can catch one of the box legendaries in their respective game. Those two Bumbos later reveal that they're not bad guys, they're good guys, and wanted to capture the legendaries because their ancestors have done so, and they wanted to follow in their ancestors' footsteps and do what's best to the family and the Pokemon they wanted to catch, which also makes no sense. The end. The fuck? Did I really just go in detail on what this game was about? Anyways, there is no evil corporation, as you can tell. They're the only 3 main antagonists, or 4 for counting Servant. All of them are bad guys, but they say they're not bad guys. They're good guys, but they're doing bad things. So why are they called? So how come they don't call? Now let's get into the characters of Sword and Shield. I try and put this as short as I possibly can. Hop is your rival and he wants to be like his older brother Leon. However, he changed his mind and instead wants to be the professor's assistant. Reason why is because he is bad at Pokemon battles. Marnie is just like Hop in my opinion. She wants to become a champion as well, but she also sucks at Pokemon battles and later becomes a gym leader at Spikemuth. Professor Sonia is the curious professor who wants to uncover the truth behind the Darkest Day and the legendary Pokemon. She is the one who uncovers all the clues leading up to the Darkest Day, and she's also very pretty. Professor Magnolia is Sonia's mom. Bede is your true rival. He is pushy and later got the best of him. He got cucked by helping the chairman find where the wishing stars, but the chairman then said he did no such thing, so he later becomes a flamboyant gym leader of Balonia. Leon is the champion, the chairman is dumb. Oleance is the chairman's assistant. All the gym leaders is what you would expect. However, Pierce is cool. That stands out from every other gym leader because he doesn't Dynamax his Pokemon, which I like. He is also the older brother of Marnie. Then you have Swordweld and Shieldbert. They're dumb. If you can tell by the music I'm using to make this review, I don't like the game's soundtrack overall. Sure, there are a few soundtracks that I like, probably like 6, but overall the music just isn't my cup of tea. For example, there's some music that sound calm and others have a horrible rival theme. Just on a little side note, this gave me similar vibes to this. You have a good gym battle theme. Then you have an underwhelming chairman theme. You have calm city music. And then you have a howling theme. And then you have Toby Fox. What do I think about the new features added in Sword and Shield? Well, to start things off, Dynamaxing is dumb. All it does is make Pokemon big. Oh my goodness, this is the best idea ever. all it does is make Pokemon humongous, ginormous. This is a 10 out of 10 idea. You have earned my payment, Game Freak. Do you also know that I find Sun and Moon to be one of the best Pokemon games of all time? Gigantamax isn't as dumb. It changes the forms of Pokemon, which I like. However, they could have been Mega Evolutions, you know, the forms of Gigantamax Pokemon. They could have been Mega Evolutions, but no. They just had to be a gimmick that make them big, which it's a huge disappointment in my opinion. They could have been Mega Evolution. Alright, the wild area is a nice addition. It's neat having camera controls when looking around the wild area. However, camera controls is only exclusive to the wild area, and camera control on a game that's released in 2019 isn't all too exciting in my opinion. The battle tower makes a return. However, the challenge is a disappointment considering how easy you can beat everybody, and the only real challenge is Leon, which isn't all too great. It has a cool theme though, but it's easy. You can gather up battle points easy. The tent and cooking are a nice way to interact with your Pokemon. It's better than Pokemon and Me. Max raid battles is a thing. It's time consuming and it is annoying to take each Pokemon out, especially if you are encountering a 5-star Pokemon. Not to mention the amount of AI that you have with you are going to ruin your day because of how easy they are. For the Dynamax Pokemon to take out at least, their levels are so low and most of the time they won't even touch it because most Pokemon typings won't affect the Pokemon itself. Unless you have a level 100 Pokemon on you, the max raid battles are a pain in the ass to deal with. Also, max raid battles are the only way for a chance to encounter Pokemon with hidden abilities, but they're not always guaranteed to have a hidden ability. It's not 100%. So good luck having your Rose raid with Technician or a Diggersby with huge power. The presentation of this game is almost awful. You do get some good looking cutscenes. Every character is expressive and feel alive, at least to me they do. And the Pokemon came great when it comes to their transition from the 3DS to Switch. I like their high quality textures. However, everything else is summed up in one word. Like, why in the hell do the trees and the background look like GameCube graphics? Why do the Pokemon behave like the Pokemon don't even open their mouths? Like, it just looks off. Also, you get frame drops when you roam around the wild area. That is dumb. The routes look very disappointing presentation wise. Enhanced 3DS graphics at best, at least that's how I put it. I see games like Luigi's Mansion 3, Super Mario Odyssey, and of course Breath of the Wild, and they all look great graphically. Sword and Shield are not that. Yes, I know Pokemon games aren't known for its graphics since they were released in inferior hardware, but for a game that's released on a home system and that makes every first party game look great, Game Freak could have made everything more alive and not feel like a DS game but with a fresh coat of paint. Oh boy, have I been waiting to tell you all this. Not adding in all the Pokemon, not using every move in the games, not letting every Pokemon use moves they learned before, and not bringing back Mega Evolutions is the stupidest thing Game Freak has ever made. Like I said in the beginning of the video, Game Freak have made a poor explanation as to why they made the decisions they've done now. We now know they're using the same 3DS models, so if they tried, they could have made every Pokemon playable in the new generations of Pokemon, and if they wanted, they could have added new animations. You know, I don't think people will even care in the slightest, but you know, it'd be cool. We've seen some new animations in Smogon. The meta can be fine with Mega Evolutions and Z moves if, you know, Game Freak adds patch notes, some buffs, some nerfs, etc, etc. They have done nerfs, such as whenever Mimikyu gets hit with this disguise ability, not only will it break the disguise, but it takes 1/8 of damage. Intimidate has gone a nerf, so abilities like White Smoke, Oblivious, if I recall correctly, I may have to check up on that, and other abilities that I'm going to point out here, or abilities that are now in effect or get a buff, are blocked by Intimidate. So that's a thing. And Pokemon not able to learn moves they've learned in previous generations makes them kind of useless in the meta. For example, Charizard isn't able to learn Roost in Gen 8, so that gives him no recovery options. Pokemon not being able to use Toxic, such as Milotic, makes it not a pain to stall out a team, which isn't that the point of Milotic? And moves not usable in the game are dumb. Many Pokemon depended on those moves, such as Return and Hidden Power, so Snorlax isn't going to use Return. Many Pokemon who depended on Hidden Power have no coverage whatsoever. So until further notice, they are redeemed useless. Pokemon Sword and Shield are the worst Pokemon games I have played by far. They are inferior to its predecessors when it comes to the amount of storage a cartridge can hold. The game overall looks like it was made for a console 2 generations ago. The story is nothing to go wild about. The difficulty is just as easy as beating X and Y without the Mega Evolutions. The music isn't something I'll add to my playlist anytime soon. And look, if you really like these games, kudos to you, kid. However, I must ask, why do you? I feel like many Pokemon fans can take what they can get out of a game and praise it like it's the best thing out there. I don't feel that way. I want Pokemon to grow and be better than what they did before. I want to use the same features used in previous generations and use them in Sword and Shield. I want the game to look as great as some of the other first-party titles. I want a good story. I want memorable characters. I want a challenge to the point where my dick got hurt by an AI. I want Pokemon Sword and Shield, or any game after that, to be a true next-gen Pokemon game. But Game Freak way of moving forward is basically one step forward and many steps back. Don't get these games. They are not good. For this holiday season, do your kids a favor and give them a DS and copies of old Generation 3 through 5 games. They will have a much better time and play hours upon hours of those games, and they will at least find a challenge in those generations. I'm done.